Dave?
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
Like that buzzing sound?
Yeah, that buzz.
Yeah, it's
Nope, Dave, that's the buzz surrounding the upcoming panel.
okay. I'm allergic to bees. It wasn't trouble.
These outside sales professionals have had amazing success over the past year.
Now, we have a mix of rookies and tenured outside sales professionals, and they're going to be able to show you how you can build a strong business during incredibly challenging times.
Yes. Here to introduce us to the panel and discover what they did to achieve that success, please welcome April Gilliland.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our discussion today with 3 of our top outside sales professionals. We're going to be talking about how they achieved success during the pandemic. The goal is to get to know them, and we're just going to have a conversation. We are so happy and so grateful that they're on this panel today. Caitlin, Josh, and Kyle, thank you all for being here. We are all dying to hear what you have to say, what you did to get these sales during the pandemic. I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're going to take that knowledge and we're going to learn how to apply it moving forward so we can all find the kind of success that you have. And also to our audience, if you have any questions for our panelists, please type them in the Q&A and in the chat, and then we'll forward those questions to them after we finish. So, who are these 3 Platinum Award winners? We have 2 rookies and a tenured outside sales professional. They all hit over $1 million in sales during a pandemic. And I've talked with each of them, and it won't take you long to realize why they are Platinum Award winners. So let's go ahead and get started with Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Caitlin is from Fullerton and Brea, California. Her franchisees are Gabby and Bob Molinax. And in the award year, she finished with $1,255,995. Caitlin started in 2019 as an inside sales and achieved the Circle of Excellence Award, and then transitioned into outside sales during the pandemic. She completed her outside sales certification and achieved platinum sales status in her first year as an outside sales professional. Wow. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Caitlin, you sent us in some photos. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your photos?
Absolutely. So
I see one here of your family. It looks like it's in front of your fast signs. It says, "Come on in."
Come on in. Yeah. So that's us, our small little team, Bob and Gabby Molinax, our franchisees, and then my husband, Aaron, in that photo as well. That's our little team, our dynamite team, and couldn't have achieved the success that I had without them supporting. There's a photo of my parents walking me down the aisle.
Oh my God.
A trip in Italy, and then I've got some photos from projects, the Falcon Academy. So that was a quick turnaround project for us. We got a call that the school's name needed to be changed due to some reasons not to be talked about the former person the school was named after. So we did a quick monument change on that school. And then the photo below that was our 2020 project. We worked with the Fullerton School District to get their students back to school come September of 2020. And we were in meetings from April of 2020 forward. That's the first run of our test samples of all the designs that we produced for them. We did a full suite of COVID signage, and it was for 26 elementary schools, and that was just the beginning of the project.
Thank you, Caitlin. Now let's talk about Josh. So Josh Richburg is from Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, Josh. His franchisee is Todd Helfer, and in the award year, he finished with $1,083,965. Josh's Fast Signs career also began in 2019 in inside sales, where he quickly excelled and transitioned into outside sales. In his first year, Josh has obtained his sales certification, his Platinum Sales Status Award, and actively participates in peer group discussions. So Josh, you also sent us some photos. So, oh my gosh, let's see here. I love that hat.
Yeah, that's my beach hat. I'm obviously living in Florida my whole life. I'm a big beach goer, so you got to have the gear to go with it.
There you go. And oh my gosh, those beautiful children. They look like they could be models.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. I got a 10-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl, so they keep me pretty busy between work and them. So
So Josh, I see a couple of photos there with the Jags. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, so we do a lot of signage with the Jags. So what you see in these pictures is some cool stuff we did in the locker room area. It's where the players and the coaches walk by every day, and it's some motivational signage that the coach came up with. That we did some really cool wall wraps and different size dimensional letters. Some standing off the wall, some flush to the wall. You can see on the wall that we added some other dimensional elements to it. So just a cool project we did for them recently, but we do a lot of stuff for the Jags.
Well, it's very creative. So I'm just curious, did you guys design that, or did they provide you the artwork? I'm just curious.
Yeah, our designers in-house designed it from scratch. So we basically took just some of their thoughts they gave us, and we put it together, and took a lot of trial and error. We came with a couple different concepts, but we finally settled on one that they were happy with. But yeah, it came out really great.
Well, it's gorgeous. I can see why they want to use you guys. You guys are actually creating it as well, too. So last but certainly not least, now let's go to Kyle. Kyle Brightwell is from College Station, Texas. His franchisees are Kevin and Christy Brightwell. And in the award year, he finished with $1,224,976. Kyle has worked at Fast Signs for the last 8 years in outside sales, dating back to 2013. And he achieved platinum level for the past 3 years. He has his outside sales certification and attended the outside sales boot camp. And we have some photos that Kyle has here as well.
So that is my wife, Sarah. We've been married about 4 years, and the dog is our little puppy. Her name is Sugar. We don't have any children or anything, but we do have 2 dogs that keep us busy.
There you go. They can keep, they're like children, right? And I see four individuals. Who are these, your brothers, or who are these 4 people?
So all 4 of those are actually employees at Fast Signs. On the left side is our installer, Grant, who we kind of consider him our adopted brother. And then next to him is my brother, Garrett, who's our outside installation manager. And then to the right of him is Tate, who also does outside sales with me.
Y'all like family there. All right, and then I see you have some photos here too. You want to tell us about your photos? Or I mean the pictures of some of your projects, the A&M?
So the first one is a project that we did for A&M Athletics for the football team. It was like a fabricated aluminum logo that was about 10 foot tall. That we installed at the facility going into their locker room.
10 feet tall. That was it pretty heavy?
No, it wasn't super heavy. It was just kind of large and bulky and awkward to get to move. But I think I had the installers out there till about 10 o'clock at night finishing that one up. But yeah, they haven't forgot that one yet.
Do? Yeah. What you do to get things done for your customers, right?
Oh yeah, you got to take care of the big ones.
That's right. So tell us about the Mad Taco.
Yeah, so that was a routed face lighted cabinet that we did for a local restaurant here. Is a little bit more of a unique application as to where it wraps around a 90-degree wall. So there's signs on both pieces of the wall. And all the letters and logos are routed out and backed with acrylic so it can be back illuminated.
Beautiful. That looks like a lot of fun to make.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Okay, guys, thank you all for sharing your personal side with us and sharing some of the projects that you're proud of. Well, we have some questions for you, and we're all dying to hear what you have to say and how did you find success. So let's go ahead and start with Caitlin. You're new with Fast Signs. You spent about a year inside sales, and you're learning the process and the products, and then you started as an outside salesperson in the middle of a pandemic. What did you do to bring in sales? Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing that I did this past year was I worked from within. You know, we had a lot of relationships that were initial contacts, those initial inquiries, those leads that hadn't really been worked or acknowledged. So I focused my efforts on reaching out to them, connecting. Yeah, they knew about Fast Signs, but they didn't know what we were doing to help these businesses reopen and keep people safe. So that was a priority of ours collectively as a team, to really make sure that our clients knew what we were capable of and how we could help them with their problems and just solutions.
Connecting with them and reaching out to them, letting them know that you're a resource.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Josh, I want to ask you a question. First, I want to reiterate. So you started in inside sales in 2019, and then you migrated into outside sales during the pandemic. And besides achieving platinum, you made time for peer groups, and you got your outside sales certification. As busy as you are, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Why did you choose to immerse yourself in what Fast Signs has to offer, and how would you say you benefited from it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I've been in sales, you know, my whole career, but I've never been Fast Signs or selling signage. So it was important to me. Like, I'm really goal, you know, driven. I like to accomplish everything that I can accomplish. So the only way to do that is learn as much as I can from peers or from, you know, the Fast Signs University, or just from here at our shop, you know, is learning from people that's been doing it for so long. So, you know, it just makes me feel good too when I accomplish those achievements. So, you know, that's what drives me, is, you know, accomplishing challenges. So it was a challenge. It was busy, but at the end of the day, you know, I made sure I got it done, and it.
Well, you got it done all right.
It made me feel successful. So that's what drove me.
Well, you know, you said something about goals, and that is so important. I bet as we get to talk to all of our panelists here, I bet they have, you know, something to say about goals. I mean, how do you hit these kind of numbers without having something to reach forward? So I want to talk to Kyle next. So Kyle, you've been with Fast Signs since 2013, and you've been a Platinum Award winner for the last 3 years. During the pandemic, not only did your sales not go down, you actually had your best year ever. Okay, what? How can you explain how you did that? How did you do it?
Well, I think one of the key components in the numbers from last year was, I mean, obviously we were a little bit slower as far as incoming requests, but I was a little bit more proactive in reaching out to existing customers that I've worked with and letting them know, hey, this is what these people are doing. This is
kind of like Caitlin was doing.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you let people know what their competitors are doing, they don't want to be left behind or seem to be doing less than them. So kind of when I would present people with, hey, this is what we've been doing for X, Y, and Z, they kind of get an idea of what we can do, how it can help them. So I would say last year primarily was driven based on just kind of approaching customers and just trying to, like Caitlin said, get more business from existing contacts that we already
it's
have.
showing that you're the expert as well, that you've done this before, right? So.
Yeah, and it kind of shows this is kind of a model of how it's done, and makes it easier on our end where we don't have to reinvent the wheel in every job, and
I know, right?
More time effective for the customer, moving it through production and getting it finalized.
If I could chime into that.
Absolutely, sure.
That's exactly what we did. And, you know, Fast Signs did a great job of putting together the germ prevention catalog and the school catalog, and we put our twists on those in our own ways. But the exact same thing, to be able to say, hey, Fullerton School District did this. Brea, you're a lot smaller. You should be doing this. oh, the phone's ringing from Walnut Valley School District. Sure, we'll help you. And just 1, 2, 3, we were helping districts in that kind of rinse and repeat fashion. But it made it really easy for our team also to produce some of these things because the quantities were so large and the materials were so similar. So in some ways, I think that was something that contributed to the success during the pandemic year.
Well, I mean, I came on to Fast Signs and I was out in the field, and when I came in, I was totally impressed. I did not realize all of the resources and everything that's available to help us as salespeople. But yeah, I mean, I heard that throughout the network, all talking about how they're capitalizing and using those flip books and all the COVID related type materials. So, and you guys took advantage of that, made that work for you. Okay, Josh, with over $1 million in sales during the pandemic, can you elaborate on how you were finding business?
Sure. So, I mean, obviously with a lot of shutdowns, it was just, I was out looking for the essential business. I mean, I just made a list of businesses I know that are open. I knew construction was still going on. I knew hospitals. I mean, anybody in healthcare. So I just targeted those. I mean, construction was real big for me last year. I was targeting new warehousing being built, new office spaces being built. I mean, construction workers were still out there working, so they still need.
So you were targeting. You knew exactly where you're going.
So that was my plan from the beginning, just target businesses that are essential and open. Luckily in Florida, we didn't have it as hard as some people in other states. So there was still a lot of business out there, but it definitely all switched to, COVID related signage. I mean, on the workplace. So yeah, that was my goal, I was just targeting essential, mostly construction, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I was hearing, did any of you run into construction type projects as well?
Yeah, I would say that's one of the main industries that I work with. And that was one that didn't necessarily slow down last year. They kind of kept plugging through, and that was probably one of our saving graces last year, is having some of these industries that were less affected by the pandemic and whatnot, which I guess that's an important part of diversifying who you do business with, because things can change quickly and you want to have a wide variety of businesses that you do business with in case something like last year.
Right. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Actually, that was something Lane Harris, he was my partner, and I was young in the business, and that's what he said to me. He goes, never let any of your businesses be more than 10%. You need to diversify. So then that way, in a case like this, you could, tap into those others. I guess that kind of leads me to the question I was going to ask you, Kyle. I know that you work with the university, and when events changed, I imagine the pandemic affected the university and ultimately you. How did you adapt? How did you fill the gap? Is it mainly the construction businesses?
Well, in regards to the university, their construction was kind of put on hold last year, so they weren't doing a lot of construction businesses. But primarily what I sold to the university last year was COVID type signage. Kind of had to pivot away from doing event signage for specific events to doing more facility signage that they could put around the facility to, I don't know, do all the COVID instructions and whatnot. And they on campus, they actually have their own sign shop, but their demand was so high that they probably sent us $100,000 worth of stuff that was just kind of ready to print, that they just didn't have the capacity to get out.
Wow. So they had their own sign shop, but yet they still were reaching out to you.
Yeah. And I mean, I think one of the more important things is just not telling people no, because it would have been easy to say, oh, we're busy with all our projects and I can't tie up our printers for this long. But I mean, it involved coming back at night, running the printers overnight and figuring out a way to get it in.
Kaylin shaking her head. So, Kyle's talking about saying yes, and Caitlin's shaking her head about. So did you find yourself, Josh, saying yes?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the same situation with universities and our sports teams, like the Jaguars. Just had to switch focus on, COVID signage and wear your mask. I mean, we were one of the few NFL teams around the league that actually had fans last year. So we were lucky with that, but it was definitely safety first there. I mean, COVID signage, safety barriers, and concession stands, bathrooms. I mean, it was pretty heavy COVID related signage for sure.
Gotcha. So, Caitlin, I saw you shaking your head. Yes.
Yes.
Did you want? Yes.
We had a order for floor graphics, and we had to really fight and prove that we knew what we were doing with all of these floor graphics. I mentioned earlier, back in April, we had seen a meeting, participated in a meeting, I should say, with the director of risk management for the school district, as well as the director of maintenance and facilities. And he did not want to believe, Gabby and I, that we knew the best material recommendation for the school. I've never had to fight and prove ourselves for anything like we did with this gentleman. Fast forward come August, and he called me and he said, I'm going to make your day, just like that, and ordered $100,000 in floor graphics.
Whoa. Wow. I guess you convinced him.
So we did that exact same thing as Kyle, and we were running it at night because we were too afraid to outsource it because we fought for that material that we knew we could get. So crazy, but we made it happen for our clients.
Oh my gosh. I love these stories. These are great. So Caitlin, what industries do you tend to work with most? And what is a product that you really like selling or producing, and why?
So we work a ton with the schools. I've mentioned that. I've dabbled in construction a little bit. Josh mentioned that he likes to learn new things and set goals. Reading construction plans was on my 2020 to-do list, and I'm proud to say that I'm getting there. So I'm understanding that. And then we do a lot with manufacturing and warehousing, and we picked up a corporate account that is a liquor company, and we've worked with Fast Signs all over the country helping us install window graphics for them. And that was a great success. Liquor sales were up in 2020 as well as signs.
Yes. I remember seeing these long lines at the liquor store.
So we had some contribution to that as well.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing to do is interior decor. I love designing interior pieces. I have major envy of Josh's Jags project because it's just beautiful.
I know. And they created it too,
It's awesome.
All right. So Josh, I'm curious. I'm going to ask you, Kyle, the same question, but I'm going to ask Josh first. What industries do you tend to work with most? And what is a product that you really like selling or producing, and why?
Yeah, lately it just seems like the Jaguars, but when it's not the team, warehousing is really big around Jacksonville and logistics. I mean, we're a hub for warehousing in Jacksonville. So I really like warehousing because usually the signage is really easy. It's cost-effective material and it's the large quantities. So it's, I'm making good money, we're making good money, but it's not super expensive signs that, it's not costing us a lot to make them. So I love targeting warehousing. I mean, it could be a few hundred signs.
Good to know.
Yeah, it could be a few hundred signs just that's Coro or PVC or, a simple material that is basically just being hung from the rafters. I mean, it's really easy. And so that's kind of what I go after a lot is warehousing. And I've actually been lucky enough to win over a couple of companies that I've actually not just started in Jacksonville, I started doing their facilities outside of Jacksonville around the country. So that's been pretty cool too.
Oh, it's kind of like what Caitlin was talking about as well, working with the other locations.
Right.
Okay. All right. So Kyle, same question for you. What industries do you tend to work with most?
I would say aside from construction, which we've already discussed, and education, we have the university here, which is a good chunk of our business. But one of my bigger customers last year was a local healthcare company that I mean, I started working with them probably 5 years ago, and they were relatively small just in this area. And they've been rapidly expanding across the United States. And so last year, we probably helped them rebrand 30 locations or so,
Love
everywhere from
rebrands.
Coast to West Coast to, well, pretty much across the United States. And I was thankful to be able to have other Fast Signs franchises that I could reach out to help with the work, which I utilized a lot of different Fast Sign stores, and they made my life easy getting it done and doing it right for me. That was one industry that definitely grew quite a bit for me last year.
So what I'm hearing then, how important is it to network with each other, right? The more
Yeah.
successful each other is, the more successful we all are. So, wow, all three of you are saying that. So it obviously is something that we all should be paying attention to. So Kyle, I'm gonna ask you another question. So what new systems, tips, or techniques were implemented during the pandemic that you'd keep as you move forward?
So I think one thing that I started utilizing more, it wasn't necessarily a new system, was the click to sell. Definitely had more downtime last year. In the past, I've primarily used it to reach out to existing customers in our database that were dormant, we hadn't done anything with in a while. But with more free time last year, that kind of allowed me to have more time to find contacts, and that's kind of something, once you get them plugged in there, you kind of let it go. And I've seen great success from sending out click to sell campaigns and kind of keeping us at the front of people's minds when they are needing signs and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm hearing so many in the network talking about click to sell. And when I listen to Catherine, when she's talking about, you know, with her Connect with Catherine, and they have an employee version, so any employee can go and listen to it. She talks, there's such a swing. For those that have click to sell, I want to say it's like 11 or 12% their sales are up. And those that don't, oh gosh, I don't want to say it wrong, but at one point it was like 6 or 7% down. I mean, there's a huge swing. So, I mean, that just proves right there how important it's just keeping top of mind. So utilizing the Fast Signs programs. Awesome. All right. So I want to ask Caitlin a question. So with all that was going on, how did you stay motivated?
That's a great question. You know, I think there's a couple lessons learned through the last year, and one of them is the importance of family. And we were very fortunate to
I just got the chills.
work close with our family and really take a step back to look at what's important. You know, business is important, it's always going to be there, but family is, you know, the most important for us as our little center. And I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. So the last year, we were motivated because we were doing things collectively. We were all going towards a common goal of what we were trying to achieve as our family. And also, it took away, the last year, a lot of this regular commitments kind of disappeared. And so it was no big deal if we had to come in on Saturday and turn the music up and just have a fun day in our workout clothes. I got Bob and Gabby into Fast Signs Fit Club that we started, and we were doing workouts at the beginning of the pandemic.
Made it fun. Wow.
It was fun. And I think, you know, that's the most important thing, staying motivated, is what's driving you and understanding what that why is for you. And for us, it's our family and having fun. And yeah, there's going to be stresses and there's going to be projects that just don't go right. But if you can be focused on that goal and that end goal, I think you can do great things. And just every day taking those steps to make a little bit more progress is what I was able to do.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. That's one of the things I learned as well. And I know, Kyle, you talk about being, you know, family, you know, Josh, you know, how important is family, right? Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Josh, I want to ask you a question. What was your biggest challenge during the pandemic? And can you tell us how you overcame it?
Yeah, I would say I've always been an outside salesperson in my past. I'm used to meeting with people. I'm better at face-to-face interaction, shaking hands and meeting and getting the deal done that way. And obviously, that wasn't very doable. So, I've had to really learn how to be comfortable with the virtual world right now, and relying on email and phone calls, which I'm good with emails and phone calls, but it's still like I like to close those deals face to face, with a handshake. I'm old fashioned, so that was a big challenge. But yeah, I mean, I overcame it by just practicing up on my emails and how to write emails a little bit better, and phone calls, and just learning to just follow up on phone calls, multiple times. So
That's a big one for me.
Right,
I'm follow up.
yeah.
You're gonna hear me talk about that in my classes and all that. I'm always talking about following up and relationships.
I was always the type of guy, the salesman, that would pop into the office with donuts, or hey, let me take you out for coffee, But so it was a little tough. We did learn to do a little bit of a virtual coffee. It's something that we learned from someone that we work with, and so we started doing like virtual coffees with people. Hey, let's get on a Zoom, let's have a quick meet and catch up. If you want to drink a cup of coffee while we're on it, then cool. But yeah, we started just trying to learn how to do more virtual, and
Yeah, you needed to figure out how to continue to be able to do business. Kyle, did your customers approach you, or have you found them by prospecting or from referrals?
Well, I would say when I first started, it was primarily from prospecting, doing kind of walk-ins, that sort of thing. I do that to a certain degree still, but after being here for a while, I've kind of developed a customer base that keeps returning, and I generally like to ask for referrals, because a lot of these, especially with the university, even in a single department, there's multiple wings, and I'll always kind of finish a meeting with, hey, do you know anyone else in this department, or anyone else in the university that might be able to utilize our services? And hopefully, if you've made them happy, they'll give you a referral. And I'll even ask them, hey, would you mind shooting them an email and letting them know that I'll be getting in touch with them, and letting them know, kind of to give me a warm referral, so it's not just a cold.
Yeah, they're not surprised that they're expecting your phone call.
Yeah. And I think most of the time, if you knock the ball out of a park for a project, the customer is going to be a lot more likely for you to refer you to someone else.
They know that you can be trusted, so it's okay to give that referral, because they know you're going to take care of them. Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime you've done a good job, I think that's just a automatic response, is to ask them about someone that they may know. So 91% of customers said after a good experience they would give a referral, but only 12% of customers ask. So that has always stuck with me. So that's why I'm always, okay, I got to ask for a referral. If they're telling me how wonderful I am, that was my trigger, something to ask them about. So, all right, Caitlin, I got to ask you a question here. I have seen your Bob the Owner TikToks. Oh my God. Can you tell us about that, and how did social media play a role in your sales?
Yeah, of course. So Bob the Owner is my dad, and he loves to tell everybody that he's my dad. So he'll be out somewhere, and I don't really tell anybody. I refer to them Bob and Gabby. I don't call them mom and dad, just kind of on the fly, sly. And he started this thing where he'll go out and he leads our installs. So he goes to every install, meets with the customer, shakes hands. Yeah, I'm Bob. I'm the owner. Oh, you worked with Caitlin. She's my daughter. And I get a call for them to pay their balance, and they're like, oh, I just heard that. I didn't know Bob's your dad. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we catch him doing random things all the time, and we just started recording him. And don't get me wrong, he's amazing. He's great, but he sometimes has like owner mentality. So he'll just sit and look on his computer at fishing boats or trucks sometimes. And we just walk in on him looking at videos that are not related to sign projects. And so we've kind of built this persona. So we capture him doing silly things. He dances like crazy. He's fun to be around, and he's personable and people like it. So when I share it on social media, people get to know us, and customers, clients, companies aren't buying the signs.
They're just drawn to that. I know.
People are buying them.
I watched that video. I mean, there's several of them. I watched over and over again. And let's see if we can't play a video here. Okay, I just want to say for our audience here, this video that I'm about to play, if you are in a car, please be warned that the police are not pulling you over, okay? They're not coming after you. Oh my gosh, wasn't that? I mean, that was so funny. I couldn't stop. Like I said, I watched over. And he has so many videos, Caitlin. I can see why your customers.
Follow us. And one of my favorites is when I post videos and somebody else who's not the owner manages the social media account for another center. And they're like, OMG, that's our owner too. And so I know it's not just Bob. There's a whole bunch of owner Bobs out there doing the same stuff. But we love them, and it's a lot of fun.
I love it. We're getting close to the end here. Josh, will you tell us about your biggest success?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one's kind of obvious. I mean, last year I set a goal that, my first year outside sales, I was going to hit $1 million.
And you did it, and over.
I did it. And it wasn't just that, I had several goals. I wanted to grow a business in a couple of different areas that, we have some accounts that we've been trying to get for 4 or 5 years that I was able to finally land. Before me, people were trying to earn. So I had several goals, but the biggest one was I wanted to hit $1 million. And now that I see how well I did, even during a pandemic, like I've already set my goal for 2 million for next year. So
really? Wow.
Yeah. So
you can do it.
I mean, I promise you, I'm gonna do it. There will be.
I love it.
But I learned a lot this year, and like I said, I mean, it was a pandemic year, and it was also my first year in 100% outside sales, not on the front counter. So, I picked up a lot. I learned a lot, and I think my goals. I firmly believe. Because my counterpart, Patrick, also hit over $1 million this year. I really feel like we could have two $2 million salesmen here next year.
I'm going to share something with you too. The very first time that I came down from the stage, from the panel of the pros, Patrick Pinnell pulled me aside and he gave me kind words. I'll never forget that. He's just a great guy. And Josh too. I mean, you were in my peer group. I always enjoyed what you had to say. You're always willing to share and help others. Caitlin, I've had such a great time getting to know you as well. I mean, you invited me to one of your chamber meetings, and I got to see you in action. You were just amazing. And Kyle, I didn't get to know you until now, and I had such a great time on the phone. You guys are all so much fun. All right, and I got to just say something I just noticed. All 3 of you have fast signs in your shot there, right? I mean, Josh has it above his head. Caitlin has it behind her in the backdrop, and Kyle's wearing on his hat. What does that say? I mean, you guys are all in. Gosh, thank you guys so much for representing Fast Signs the way that you do. And thank you for sharing your insight with the network so we can all benefit and find success like the 3 of you have. And to our audience, if you have any questions for our panelists, please type them in the Q&A and in the chat, and we'll forward the questions to them. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.